Okay, so basically, how this you're good to kill. How this is gonna work is I'm gonna have a 10-minute opening statement. You're gonna have a 10-minute opening statement. I think it was a 7-minute rebuttal, and then let's see, 15-minute cross examination. So cross examination, one person asking the question, other person answers. Then it switches to the other person who is answering the questions is not asking the questions, and then you're gonna answer. The other person's gonna answer, and then we'll do closing statements. And if
Sounds good, man.
yeah, so if you want to have the first opening statement, you are more than welcome to. I should start this.
All right, sure, man.
I'm going to start the timer in a sec. All right. You may proceed.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to thank everyone for being here. I'd like to thank Beluga for hosting this amazing debate. And I just want to say my stance is that floch is capital F fascist. But I am open to changing my mind. Opening statement. Okay, let's see. I think floch's actions apply to the definition of fascist. But I guess that depends on what definition we use, right? So, and I'm sure we'll discuss that. That's my opening statement.
All right. Nothing wrong there. We can always get into the meat of the discussion later, and that saves me more time. So, capital F fascist, huh? All right, I'll begin my timer.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay. Now, while floch may have done evil things and think not only have done but have thought evil things, I think that we do not have enough information to call him a fascist. Simply because we never saw what his policies would be. Fascism, as it is an authoritarian, ultra-statist, nationalist ideology. And with floch, we only see his foreign policy. Is he racist? 100%. Is he nationalist? 100%. Is he a statist? Well, to what extent is he a statist, right? And how authoritarian is he? We never saw a single comment out of his mouth about how he's going to rule the Eldian people. All we saw was how he wanted to protect the Eldian people from the very real threat of Marley. Now, whether or not you think that rumbling is justified or not, does not change the fact that Eldia was put in a serious situation with the world powers, especially after they killed all of their dignitaries, or killed the dignitaries of all the worlds. That's a good way of putting it. And so when floch dies, he dies in the midst of battle without a single commentary on his domestic policy. We have no idea what he was planning on doing once he had power of the citizens. And when the Yeagerists eventually took over the country, we have no idea what they did. They seem to actually be very prosperous and happy, which, again, on the outside looking in, it appears to be nice, but it could be underneath very fascist. Who's to say? That's my entire point. Who's really to say whether or not he's a fascist or not? Could he be a fascist? Of course he could be a fascist. If he was a fascist, I would not be surprised. But on the other hand, if he was not a fascist, I would also not be surprised, and neither should you, since he has shown love, devotion, and sacrifice for the Eldian people time and time again. So it is possible that he would not oppress the people. Again, this has happened before in history when they have oppressed the people. So that's why I say it's very possible. But to my mind, we have zero instance of fascism. The only thing we see is nationalism, perhaps statism, and just a violent temperament and violent racism. I'll concede the rest of my time.
So do I respond now?
Oh, my bad. So rebuttal is your counter argument to the opening statement.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. That was fantastic opening statement from Mr. Beluga, and I'd like to say, okay, so this is my thing. I don't see my main thing. Like I said, I'm not really too attached to the label of fascist. I'm not really like I'm not gonna like commit to that 100%. Like I said in the beginning, if he's not a fascist, That's fine. My thing is, I think from your opening statement, you agree that he's a terrible person. And if we agree on that, then that's my main thing. My main point is that he's a terrible guy. You seem to agree he's a terrible guy. If he's a fascist or not, I can. If he's not, then so be it. But if we agree on the main, meat on the bones, meat and potatoes of the whole thing, then yeah, that's my rebuttal.
Okay. And since yours was like 4 seconds, I'll just say I don't think it's a capital F fascist. I'll repeat the opening statement. We have no evidence. So that was fairly quickest I've ever done. Let's go into the cross section now. You may now, if you would like, ask me questions for 15 minutes.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, okay. So when I said capital F fascist, I was kind of joking around there. I was trying to, be a bit direct. But anyway. So yeah, I mean, if we agree that he's a terrible guy,
Oh, so there really was.
Like, do we agree?
Do we agree that? Okay, what do you mean by terrible guy? All right, let's make this interesting.
Like, okay. First of all, like you said, he has devotion to the Eldian people, right?
Yes, sir.
The Eldian Empire and all that.
Yep.
And of course, he would have to some extent to do the things he did, but there is some hypocrisy in there, right?
Okay, let's talk about that.
Like, for example, yeah. So he was fine with poisoning his fellow Eldians, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's if you talk a big game, like we're saving the country, we're saving our people, we need to bring back the Eldian Empire, all that stuff. Like he always talks about how supportive, like he's we're all one race, we should stand together. But when the topic of his fellow Eldians being poisoned is brought up, he smiles, and that's kind of weird. There's a creepy little smile with the digital map of lines. It's looking kind of creepy. That's one thing. And the second thing is, this isn't really Floch. We don't really see Floch's opinion on this. I guess you can't really say much here. But when the walls fell down and killed countless Eldians, destroyed countless Eldian homes, injured countless Eldians, we don't see Floch caring at all. Like he is more busy executing someone for saying something he doesn't like than giving a shit about the Eldians who died or were injured because of the walls falling down, right? So he cares about Eldia, but I don't think there's hypocrisy there. So that's what I think.
Okay, so I'm just going to change the format. We're going to do a more loose debate. So I think it'd be best for this conversation. Okay, so excellent points you brought up. You said, okay, so the walls fell down, they killed people. He wasn't concerned with that. He poisoned his Eldians and fellow Eldians and smiled about it. Okay. So what I would say to that, as far as hypocrisy goes, I wouldn't necessarily say it's hypocrisy. Because, let's think about this in this way. The ends justify the means. I mean, again, I'm not saying that I think that. I'm saying that's what Floch is thinking. So in his mind, he's thinking, okay, the rumbling is the only way that me and my people can live, right? And so if the rumbling does not happen, I am certain that my family, well, he doesn't have family, but me and my people are going to be killed. I'm certain of that. So when the walls fall down, that is simply a necessary casualty. It is what happens. The wall had to fall in order for the Titans to be released. And so when that happens, he doesn't concern too much because he knows that it will bring about the salvation of the Eldians. As far as the poisoning goes, yes, he poisoned the fellow Eldian. Yes. However, I would like to bring up that the Yeagerists were never about Eldians. They're about Paradisians, right? The Yeagerists couldn't care less about the Eldians outside of Paradis. They're about building the nation state of Paradis. And so Falco not being a resident of, or not being a Paradisian, would actually be viewed more as an outsider, more than a person who he needs to protect. Right? Remember, he's actively trying to kill his family. And again, the same argument. It's a means to an end. He has to poison Falco and the rest of the military in order for the rumbling to happen. If they are not poisoned, then, or if the walls don't fall down, then they don't get their salvation. So in that sense, when it's going through Floch's mind, I think that he's actually being perfectly consistent here with his ideology.
Okay, so I completely agree with that, but the main thing here that makes me think there's some hypocrisy there is that he never. There's a difference between thinking the ends justify the means and still feeling sympathetic or still feeling sad or still feeling some kind of negative emotion towards it, right? Like you can still go out and help all the people who were injured or lost their homes from the walls falling down, right? That doesn't have anything to do with still, like, you can still think that the rumbling is a good thing, but he can still go out and help those people. When he can still think poisoning the military is a good thing, but he can still be like, it's a shame that we have to do that, right? But it's a, he does a little creepy smile, like he doesn't need to be a piece of shit about it, is what I'm saying. He could be a good guy and also think these things are necessary.
Okay, I see what you're saying. It's more of like it's you're saying it's hypocritical because while it could be a means to the end, he still treats it lackadaisically and even mocks it. Okay, so what I said is a couple of things. Again, when he didn't smile when the walls broke down and killed the Eldians, right? I don't, maybe he did. It's been a while since I read Wolf of Parody, but I'm pretty sure he didn't. But he smiled when Falco got poisoned again. Another person who he views as not part of the nation state of Paradis, right? And so that would be, again, perfectly consistent with his beliefs. Remember, he's trying to kill Falco's family, and if Falco was on Marley, he'd gladly kill him too. And so, but the other thing, as far as like the lack of empathy for the people who were killed at, did you see something, Fat Rat? I think one of the audience members brought something up. Hold on. He smiled after the walls fell. Okay, show the panel. So in regards to the lack of empathy for the walls, he could just be consumed with his passion and goal orientated. The other thing is that, remember, when the walls fell down and killed the people, it was bad for optics, right? Because it made it look like that Aaron wasn't caring about the Eldians and yada yada yada. And so he needs to move the needle back towards Yeagerism, because they're now starting to it's making the Yeagerist movement look bad. So he needs to project this strength and this how do I put this is grandiose about the rumbling, so that the people can support it again. If he says it's something that's bad, then he risks losing the political support for the rumbling. Get the clip for that scene, Fat Rat, because I'm pretty sure that was in context of something else. So get the clip. You just put a smiling photo and it's not in context. But you can go ahead if you want to.
Okay, so yeah, sure. So when he smiled, like, it wasn't about Falco, unless it's the manga version was like that. I don't know, but in the anime, Hanji brings up, she's like, oh yeah, we gotta fight this, we gotta team up because everyone in the military has gotten poisoned. He turns around, does his creepy smile, like, and then he shushes him. It wasn't about Falco. It had nothing to do with him. It was about the military being poisoned that he was responding to with the creepy face.
If we can get the panels, that'd be awesome, because the little nuances count. And yeah, Born Evil, I think you bring up a good point. That's because he survived. That's exactly because he survived the walls falling, and John asked him. See, so if you have the panel, what chapter is that? 112. Does anyone remember?
I have no idea what the specific chapter was, but
it was Children of the Forest 124. No, Children of the Forest. So this can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So the iconic smile comes. So Hanji. Jean says, Floch, don't you see there's a good chance that this is all part of the enemy's plan? Floch responds with, if that is, then those idiotic MPs will just look even stupider. Hanji says, what? We never told you the military police drinks the wine? How did you know? So this is when she discovers that they actually taint the wine. And then, of course, he does the smile. So, easily explainable. Here's my explanation. Again, same thing. Because, again, notice, the military police, he has them in disdain, and he feels like they're not working towards LDS goals, and they're only getting in the way. Remember, they were trying to feed the founding titan to someone that they could quote unquote trust, so that they could have more of a firm control over the situation. They were even trying to basically commit treason and force Historia to bend to their wishes by eating Zeke and so on and so forth. So the MPs being titanized or harmed or entrapped with the wine would actually, again, still go towards the same overall goal he's going towards, the restoration of Eldia. He doesn't really see the MPs as he sees them more as obstacles to be gotten rid of. Now, albeit there might be some maybe a tiny bit of a smidge of hypocrisy, because they are still residents of the same nation and the same country. So, in theory, he should be looking out for their well-being. However, I still feel like it's perfectly consistent, because this is going towards the advancement of all the Eldians, and the rumbling will benefit the military police. Yeah, you can.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Of course, they're in his eyes, there are bad people in the military police, of course, and of course there are bad people just from an objective standpoint, because it's such a big group of people. But since it is such a big group of people, we know there are good people in the military police, and Floch knows it. Well, Floch is kind of insane, so maybe he doesn't know that. Yeah, so yeah, like I just said, he's kind of crazy. So maybe he doesn't realize that. Maybe he thinks people like Pixis and his butler or whoever the girl is that he's always with, maybe he thinks they're bad people or whatever. But like, we know they're not bad people, right? We know they're good people. Like Marlowe was in the military police, right? Right? Was he? Was he in the garrison? He was somewhere.
Marlowe
I don't
was
really
in
remember.
the military police and transferred over to
Okay,
the
he was
Silver
in the
Corps.
military police. Like, we see that the military police, like, at least when Marlowe was there, there was some corruption there, or maybe not some. There was a good amount of corruption in the military police, but there are obviously good people there. So even if you say, like,
go ahead.
Like, again, the ends justify the means. That's fine. He can think that. That's not an issue. Like, again, my issue is that we never see Floch show any. He never sympathizes with anyone. He never, like. There's nothing. He never shows any sort of emotion that isn't, fuck yeah, the alien empire, let's go, right? Like, he never shows any emotion other than that. Like, we never see anything else. So I just don't buy that. Like, even if it isn't the hypocrisy, like, he's just. I mean, if you want to move on to, like, I wanted to, I really like, this is the number one thing about Floch for me. The when he shoots one of the volunteers.
Which volunteer?
Like the guy.
Oh,
like
the one in the hand, and then shot him in the head. That one.
Yeah. So, like, that's the big Floch moment that I'm like, come on, like,
here, I'll say this.
It's right in front of the eyes, like, the guy says something. We don't see what he says, I don't think, but he says something Floch doesn't like, so he shoots him in the head. Like, come on, like, this guy's fucking insane.
Okay. Go ahead. Finish.
So, like, this guy who has, like, no matter what he said, no matter what he could possibly say, there's no justification for executing someone who, for 3 years, I think, has helped you and given you technology and knowledge to be where you are. Execute that person with the gun that you only have because of him, because of something he could have possibly said. When he's in a moment of distress, because he came here to help the Eldians, and to help his own nation to get free from Marley. Obviously, when he finds out that his family and his home are going to get destroyed, he's going to be pissy about it, obviously. So no matter what he says, there's no even if he says the most heinous fucking thing, there's no justification for executing. Like, you know?
Okay. So here's what I'll say to open up. I agree with you. They shouldn't have been executed. They should have been imprisoned. I think that he took it too far. However, I would just like to, and I'm not making any excuses. I would just like to really bring people into the mindset that's going on here. You live in the West, right?
Yeah.
You do. Okay. So I think it's fair to say at no point have you ever felt like there was an existential threat to you and everyone you love. Is that fair to say?
Sure. Yeah.
You've never felt the fear of an overwhelmingly more powerful country coming to kill you, who's expressed intently that they want to kill you and everyone that you know. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think a lot of us in the West would agree with that as well. Now, I'm not making any excuses. I am just saying, when you are under the stress of war and when you are, and not only just the stress of war, but the existential threat of your people being annihilated. Again, that's two different things. Because being in a war is one thing, right? But being in that type of a war where your enemy is supremely powerful over you and has been oppressing you for hundreds of years, feeding people to dogs and stuff like that, I just would like to have people step into this mindset and try to understand why he did the things he did. Should they have been in jail? Yeah, they should have been in jail. They shouldn't have been shot. That's too far. I'll say it's too far. However, I say it's too far as a very comfortable person who gets to sit and analyze and ponder on this. He doesn't get that time. The Wolf Parody arc happens within a few months, and when stuff starts popping up, it starts popping off super quickly. Right? Remember, the Rumbling only lasted for 3 or 4 days. So from 121 to 139, that was less than a week. That was less than a week. And we all, I don't know if you're a manga, yeah, you're a manga reader. Manga readers, anime readers, we read this over weeks and months. It's happened over months. This happened in a matter of days, and so he doesn't have time to sit around and think about it, and he wants to tie up all the loose ends. If they're in jail, they could possibly escape. Like I said multiple times, way back when, chapter 100, 102, kill Falco and Gavi, kill Falco and Gavi, kill Falco and Gavi. I was right. I was completely right to kill Falco and Gavi because Falco and Gavi escaped on prison from multiple occasions, twice. They did it twice. So when you put someone in prison, they can always escape. That's always a possibility, and who knows what they are going to do. You have no way to keep track of them. So he also really wants to make sure that this is done. When you are driving home and you think, I might have left the oven on, you don't continue driving. You stop and you go back and you make sure this iron is off, the stove is off, everything is good, and then you go back out on your trip. Because you want to make sure things are safe. Now imagine your iron is not left on, just your empty house could be burnt down, but everyone in your country can be burnt down. And again, not excusing his actions, I just want to put people in that mindset.
Sure, yeah, I mean I can put myself in his mindset. If I was in his situation, I would probably be pro-rumbling, right? If I was on parody, I would be like, sure, we got to do the rumbling to survive. Yeah, I would probably say. But this is my main thing. It's not about being pro-rumbling or pro all these ends justify, like all that stuff. Like I can understand. But my thing is that there's no consideration for anyone else. There's no. It's all just. Since we don't see any sort of sympathy from the Yeagerists in general, not even just floch, then I assume that they just love the fucking rumbling. That obviously you would love it in the way that it saves your country, whatever. But these people who are in support of the Yeagerists and they're like, long live the Yeager, whatever, they're out here throwing festivals while they have full knowledge that there's a genocide going on the other side of the world, right? That's just not normal. You know, this shit is just
Well,
not normal. It's weird. Like if you for like these same people who are throwing these festivals, in response to all the people who are like, Yeager fucking destroyed our homes, they killed my family or whatever because of the walls falling down. Like, oh, it's okay because it saved us. Like that's not normal. You know, like it's not normal to respond to someone, uh, like who had a family member die or something like that. You could just be like, yeah, I mean, I understand, but this was necessary. Like if I was there, I would probably respond like that if I was ProRumbling or whatever, right? But no, they're so focused, they're so passionate about it that it's really really weird. They're passionate to a very odd extent, in my opinion.
I'm going to be sort of confusing here because I'm going to use alliance talking points to sort of defend the Jaegers. So it's going to be kind of confusing, but just stay with it. So I think what you just said was a great example of why we Attack on Titan is great literature and why we need um, literature like this is because it shows what happened. This is going to sound very sappy, but it's true. It shows what happens when people are radicalized, and it shows what happens when people sort of get tunnel vision, right? And so, but and this is good. This is important because this has happened throughout history over and over and over and over and over again. And so, I would say that's actually a very very normal reaction. Um, and it's funny because I actually just got done watching. I just came back from theaters watching Oppenheimer, and there's this. I mean, it's not really a spoiler, but there's a scene where multiple scenes where people are cheering and clapping about the atomic bombs, and only a few scientists are seem to be concerned about it. And that of course happened in real life. We had the parades, we threw parties when we beat the first Gulf War. We had a giant parade that killed a bunch of people. We knew it killed a bunch of people, yet we still celebrate. That is human nature, right? The tribalism, but that not just the tribalism, because with the people in the Gulf War, they didn't do half as much as what the Marlians did to the Eldians. The Marlians, and again, I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong at this point. I'm saying the Marlians have done severe and extreme, prolonged oppression and persecution of the Eldians, and so it's actually a very natural response to be ecstatic about their deaths and about killing them and yada yada yada. And it's funny because you yourself even said at the end, like, I would probably be like that if I was there. But that's why we have these stories, so you can pull back and see the sort of ridiculousness of the situation. And should they have had more sympathy? 100%. I have this criticism with Mikasa. I have it on both sides. Mikasa, Armin, Floch, the Jaegers, whatever. I'm very consistent with this. But I would say this is exactly why these stories are there, to show you what happens when people, lose. Every symbolic is perfect. So that is definitely something that is wrong. It's evil. It's bad. But to say that it's out of the ordinary, that they're freaks, they're actually very normal people, and you're stepping into dangerous territory, because the whole point of these stories is for people to say, "Oh, that could be me. These are normal people. That could be me." You ever see that photo of everyone saluting Hitler and the guy's like shrugging his arms, right? Those were you, and everyone thinks, "Oh, I'd be that guy." No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Unless you have some sort of proof in these times that you would be that brave and so bold. All those people saluting Hitler, they're not. They're not like, if you would have run into them back then, there would be nothing obviously evil about them or obviously cruel. They were radicalized, and if something was done to them, something harmful was done to them in the prior war, and they were angry, and so that's how it manifested. And so that's why we have these stories to show us, like a mirror to ourselves and such and such.
No, yeah, I mean, I agree with what you said, but it's like I'm not denying that this shit happens in real life. Of course, it happens, but I don't think that makes it normal, right? Like
What do you
there
mean?
are plenty of things that like murder murder happens, but we don't necessarily think it's normal for someone to just kill someone, right?
I see what you mean. But so are you saying that if something equivalent were to happen in your country, that your countrymen wouldn't be celebrating?
Like, no, I don't think. Look, I wouldn't say that my country would be celebrating, but if like putting myself, I'm not gonna act like I'm some like moral like god, like I'm so morally above everyone else. But like, if 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 myself now was put in that situation with all of my opinions and feelings and stuff, I would think that the rumbling is necessary, but there's no way in hell I would be celebrating it. There's no way I would be going into the streets eating pie, right? That's fucking crazy. That's crazy to me. Like it should be the most depressing moment in everyone's life because like there's a genocide. Like there's a group of people who are from the outside world, the place where the genocide is happening, who have come here and helped us, have given us technology we didn't even know existed, have given us information we had no idea about, and we're eating pie and celebrating as people, countless people like them who have helped us, are being crushed. It just like I just I wouldn't deny that people would do that because obviously they do and have in similar situations in real life, but that doesn't make it normal, right? That doesn't make it yeah, it just doesn't make it normal.
I don't. I would disagree. I would think that in any circumstance, in any culture, in any place, if the situation were to be even slightly replicated, you would see the exact same responses. As I just
No, I'm
said,
not,
like,
yeah, I'm not denying that it would happen.
or you're saying you wouldn't, or you're saying I personally wouldn't, or is your
Yeah,
argument
like
there
like
shouldn't? Because we're not. I agree that they shouldn't be celebrating like that. It should be a somber time, but I mean that's human nature, and it is. It's
well, I
it's
mean, we
quite frankly normal
we
human
both agree
behavior.
it's a bad
Hmm?
like we agree that it's a bad response to like celebrate
Of course it
the
is. Yeah,
the thing, right?
yeah.
So would you celebrate it if it happened?
Would
Like
I
if you were in
celebrate
that
it?
situation?
Would I
Yeah.
personally? I don't know how I would react in the moment. I don't know. It depends on
Okay.
a lot of factors because you know did I do anything to my family? It was my great grandmother fed the dogs. That might change things. Did
Sure.
did something else happen? Was there's many factors. I don't know how I would react. It would depend a lot.
Fair enough.
Did you have anything else you
Uh,
want to discuss?
yeah. I mean, what else? I don't know. I mean, the big thing about I think we already discussed everything with Locke pretty much. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we both agree he's a bad guy, right?
They were all bad, but yes, I would say Flock is bad. Yes.
No, no, sure, but okay,
Yeah, I have no problem
okay.
saying
I mean,
that.
no. See, the thing is, like, for example, the Warriors are bad, but the difference is that we have seen them
Like have
show remorse for
empathy.
their actions,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Besides,
exactly.
besides Mika's
That's the
side,
thing.
say
If the
Flock is at least empathetic.
Warriors were, yeah. Sorry, what?
I
I didn't hear
said
you.
besides Mika's side, say Flock is at least empathetic. I think that's fair to say.
Okay.
But I don't. I think that he.
So yeah, that's my.
That's.
Sorry, go ahead.
But I would say. I would say I understand why he's that unempathetic. I would understand why, and I think that lots of normal people are prey to that. But you may go ahead now.
Yeah. So if there was like even one scene where Flock was like even after like maybe even after shooting the guy in the head, he's like, man, this is man, what the fuck am I doing? Like this is crazy,
Yeah,
or just
understandable.
anything relating to anything. I would be like, yeah, man, like this would be a like
No,
I
I
would be like,
understand.
yeah, that's great. I can see that this guy's like a human being, right? Uh, but as it is, it's just there's like no scene where I can be like, Flock is anything but an asshole. So
Uh,
I can't
yeah, I would definitely agree. He's definitely is the least empathetic character in the show. I think, yeah, I think we can agree on that.
yes, I mean we don't really have like in the meat of it, I don't really think we disagree.
Okay, well, excellent, great. Well, I'm glad you came on. I'll invite the audience to come on and we can have a little discussion if you want.
Yeah, this was a banger, my friend.
Uh,
This was a nice discussion.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, for sure, man. Anytime.